Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So because it's Monday, many people couldn't make it, huh? Okay, sorry, so this is an exception, this meeting time, because I didn't want to keep missing. So when we miss the flow, we'll miss the flow of the entire subject matter. So that should never happen. That's the reason why Saturday I'd been to Tirupati, so I'd want to take from the class from there, but unfortunately my darshan time was also, clashing with that. So I could not do that also. Okay, so let's begin. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Svapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangor Langayate Girim Yatkrpatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Hare Krishna. So how are you all doing? Doing good?
Prabhu, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, by Guru and Krishna, yes.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so let's begin our discussion. Okay. So in the sloka up to 23, what did we see? We saw Lord about to enter or just entered. We saw how the residents of Dwarka, how they received the Lord. So when they received the Lord, their consciousness, their gestures, their services and their activity, their moods, everything was being discussed. And when all these things are directed towards the Lord says, that is devotion. Hmm? Now, if you look at the descriptions, there were many kinds of people, right? Youngsters, married, then adultery people, then we had invalidated people, people who could not walk properly also. So they all came to receive the Lord. That is the consciousness of the Lord. So devotion service does not mean, okay, I did Pancharti, I did Agarbati, that's it. That's not, it's not devotion service. I mean, of course, that is devotion, but that is not the only way to understand devotion. So devotion means to remember the Lord at all points in time, to perform activities that is favorable to the Lord, that is performing activities for the pleasure of the Lord. That is called devotion, right? I'll give you an example. One day a Brahmana, he came to the temple. He took darshan of the Lord. He came out. When he came out, he saw one shopkeeper. He started to make freshly made jalebis. Okay, to be just prepared and freshly made jalebis in large quantities, and he started to display all of them. He said to sell. Okay, he started to display all of them. Like in a plate, they will arrange in like in a fountain format. And he saw that. He said, wow, these jalebis look so good. They look tasty. And my Lord should have the privilege of eating these jalebis first, before this person sells. You know what he did? He just stood, he just took a place just opposite to the display of the jalebis. And looking at the jalebis, he performed his Gayatri. And he performed his Gayatri and made that jalebis as an offering to the Lord. And it is said that in the scriptures that the Lord ate the jalebis with a lot of satisfaction. Right? Now, you see, this is devotion. Devotion does not restrict anyone to a smaller activity or larger activity. Devotion is unlimited. Whatever you do, whatever you think, if you can redirect to that Lord, that becomes devotion. So that's important. So, evolution of consciousness in such a direction is perfection of devotion. Okay? So we should slowly think about our activities, our day-to-day things that we do in our life, and direct them towards the Lord. That's perfection of devotion. So, repeatedly again, I'm telling, though I've told this 1,000 times. So when Prabhupada asked, what is the best, the greatest of devotion? Prabhupada said, one's ability to remember the Lord at all circumstances, at all points, at all activities is perfection of devotion. Right? Now, that remembrance of the Lord should be Annabilashita Sanyam, Jnana Karmari Anavritam, Anukulyena Krishna Anusilam. It should be bereft of any material motivation. Oh, I want this profit, I want this benefit. No. Remembrance of the Lord for His pleasure. And it should be favorable. Anukulyena Krishna Anusilam. It should be favorable to Krishna. And that is devotion. Right? So we should slowly practice this in our life. Whatever we do, we should practice this. And all these pastimes that we are seeing and hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam are all directing towards that. Okay. So now in this section, what we will see is, we will see the beauty of the Lord glorified now. So we're going to the next section in that Lord entering Dwarka, where the beauty of the Lord is very beautifully glorified by the Acharyas. Now, how did they glorify? It is not that the Acharyas saw the Lord and say, Lord, your nose is like that, your eyes is like this, your earrings are like that. No. It is a collective expression of all the devotees of Dwarka who came to receive the Lord. What did they feel? What did they think? And what did they do? And that's what the Acharyas are writing as the beauty. One is the real beauty of the Lord is it existing, but the expression of the beauty of the Lord as realized by the people is collectively being represented. And that's what we're going to discuss. Okay? So let's see. 11.24. Rajamargam gate Krishne Dwarakaya kulastriyaha Harmyani aruruhur vipra tadikshana mahotsavaha. Translation. When the Lord Krishna passed over the public roads, all the ladies from respectable families of Dwarka went up to the roofs of their palaces just to have a look at the Lord. They considered this to be the greatest festival. So what is greatest festival? Anything that they can see the form of the Lord in different varieties, they consider it as a festival. Festival does not mean doing some activities or anything, right? Now look at the festivals at which Srila Prabhupada has instantiated in ISKCON, right? Now, I'll just take the festival of Rath Yatra, which is going to come now. Now you see, the Lord who's inside the altar is coming out. The Lord is very beautifully decorated with various kinds of offerings, scents, flowers, and fruits. And while he is going to travel, sitting on the chariot and he's going to travel, the chariot will be wonderfully decorated, right? And while these things are beautiful decorated of the Lord is going to be as the procession, there'll be tumultuous sounds, trumpets, nice musical kirtan, dancing. And then what people will do, they will draw rangoli on the streets, just express their love for the Lord. And that's how the Lord has been taken out, right? So you can see from this, just enjoying the beauty of the Lord is actually a festival, right? So what they do, devotees, they come up with innovative ideas, how to decorate the Lord with different kinds of jewels, different kinds of flower garments, different types of dresses. Sometimes they'll change his turban, sometimes mukhat, sometimes bedecked with jewels. So many different types of decorations he is presented with. Seeing that and getting the benediction of the Lord is the festival. Right? Okay. Let's read the purport now. Can someone read the purport? This yellow and green.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, bro. Yeah, read.
To have a look at the Lord is a great festive occasion, undoubtedly, as it was considered by the metropolitan ladies of Dwaraka. This is still followed by the devout ladies of India, especially during the days of the Julian.
Julan. Yeah, Julan Yatra, no?
Yes, Julan and Janmashtami ceremonies. The ladies of India are still throng up into the great numbers at the temple of the Lord, where his transcendental eternal form is worshipped. The transcendental form of the Lord installed in a temple is not different from the Lord personally. Such a form of the Lord is called Archa Vigraha or Archa Incarnation, and is expanded by the Lord by his internal potency just to facilitate the devotional service of his innumerable devotees who are in the material world.
Okay, so now you see, in the material world, because our eyesight is filled with material desires and material wants, and inability to perform perfect devotion, it is not possible for us to come to the transcendental plane, right? Because we cannot come to transcendental plane, then we cannot see the Lord. So hence, Lord, what does he do? By his causeless mercy, he says, even though you have materialized, even though you have material desire, I'm still giving an opportunity for you to see me, serve me. And that's the representation of Archa Vigraha. So Archa Vigraha means what? The same Lord who's in the form of a stone or a wood or a marble or a gold or a metal or a jewel, any of these things, or in the picture format, He is his causeless mercy so that people in this world can see the Lord. Now, for example, a realized soul, a realized yogi, right? He may be in the transcendental plane. He may see Lord eye to eye. But all of us are not realized. We don't have bhakti in our heart. So still Lord is merciful that he manifests in the form of Archavigraha. So the Shastras conclude that this form of Archavigraha is non-different from the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? So that's the point you have to understand here. Okay, now let's read further. Can someone read the green? Therefore,
Hare Krishna. Dwaraka, about 5,000 years ago,
no,
the
Dwaraka, no,
authorized,
here, below.
here. Therefore, festivities in the temple of the Lord, as held generally, are like festivals performed during the manifestive days of the Lord of Dwaraka about 5,000 years ago. The authorized acharyas who know the science perfectly install such temples of the Lord under regulative principles just to offer facilities to the common man, but persons who are less intelligent, without being conversant with the science, mistake this great attempt to be idol worship and poke their nose into that to which they have no access. Therefore, the ladies or men who observe festivals in the temples of the Lord just to have a look at the transcendental form are 1,000 times more glorious than those who are non-believers in the transcendental form of the Lord. It appears from the verse that the inhabitants of Dwaraka were all owners of big palaces. This indicates the prosperity of the city. The ladies got up on the roofs just to have a look at the procession and the Lord. The ladies did not mix with the crowd on the street, and thus their respectability was perfectly observed. There was no artificial equality with the man. Female respectability is preserved more elegantly by keeping the women separate from the man. The sexes should not mix unrestrictedly. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so the last part clearly tells that, for example, in our philosophy, if you see, we keep men and women separate, and women perform the devotion separately, and men perform devotion separately. Right? You must observe in temple while performing Tulasi Arati, while eating prasadam, or while performing kirtans, everywhere. Right? So that's how the respectability of both are being maintained. Right? So that's how it is being told here. So if you look at it, since we don't have access, we perform great services to that Archavigraha of the Lord, and through which we acquire what is devotion. Right? If the Lord was present in front of you, how would you behave? How would you nourish your heart? How would you think? What services that would you do to that Lord? The same thing that you should do in reciprocation to the Archavigraha, because the Archavigraha is not different from the Lord. Right? Now, this is also going to act as an outreach for us. How? For example, there are many people who are sattvic in nature who have the likeliness to come to the temple for some benefits or something. What they do, they come to the temple and they take such benefits. Because for them also the Lord reciprocates, but in a different level. But for the devotees, the Lord reciprocates at a different level. So that's what is important here. That means whether you're a neophyte or a full practicing devotee or a realized soul, all would benefit from that Lord because he's able to reciprocate accordingly in the consciousness of devotees. Okay? So, festivals are a great outreach, and we should do this on a regular basis so that more and more souls are being attracted and invited, and they can come join the movement. And they can practice so nicely, they can realize themselves. Right? So that's the whole description of this part here. Okay. Do you have any questions, or we are okay here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams.
Yes, Mother.
Prabhu, the Lord is present only in Archa Vigraha or in any other idols that we keep in living room like that, Prabhu?
See, now for example, in your house, you may have an altar, where in the altar you may have certain forms of the deities, right? You may have Shaligrama, or you may have small Vigraha or Murtis of the Lord, Radha and Krishna, Narsinghadev, or photographs. All are called Archa Vigraha, where we worship. Okay. So, at home, we may have small other deities, right? These deities could be gifts that are being received, or you went to a store and you saw, oh, this is wonderful, and you bought it and kept it home. So like that, you have many of them, right?
Yes.
These are not called Archa Vigraha. These are just Vigraha, not Archana Vigraha. Archa Vigraha means when you perform Archana, that means devotional service, seva to the Lord. These are just beautiful objects. Now, how you differentiate? Very simple.
Even photos, Prabhu?
Yeah, even photos. Okay. So, how do you differentiate? When you get the Lord and you start offering prayers, Lord is called Uttama Sloka, that means you're offering prayers. When you offer prayers, you do what is called Avahana, right? So, for example, they say, how do you open the altar? You offer Shruti Mantras, you offer Guru Pranamas, you ring the bell, then you knock the door and open the door of the altar. Then the Lord will manifest. You glorify Him by His names, by His beauty, by all those slokas that you glorify Him. These are called Avahana principle. That means one is welcoming the Lord into the Vigraha. Okay? Once the Lord is, very merciful, what does He do? Because you've invited, He comes. Now, once He comes, what are you supposed to do? You need to offer nice bhoga. Then what you do, you perform Aratika Seva, right? In the Aratika Seva, you sing, you perform agarbatti, incense, all these things that you offer to Him. Then offer to Him, and then you put nice decorations for Him, garlands and everything, nice dresses, everything. So after the whole Arati is completed, after your worship principles are completed, then you thank the Lord. Oh Lord, thank you for coming and giving me the benediction. And the Lord returns back. So this principle is called Avahana. Now, why this is done? This is done so that the Lord manifests, He accepts our offerings in the form of devotion. He reciprocates back by cleansing your heart, by giving Krishna Prema in your heart, to whatever degree we are surrendered to, and then He returns back. So this is how an Archa Vigraha works in a home. But in a temple, the Lord has completely manifested through His energies, right? So He's done what is called as Prana Pratishta. That means He's manifested through His energies and He's present there. He's present there all times. Okay? So there's a difference between temple mode and home mode. In the home, you may have other objects in your house, but they are not Archa Vigrahas. They're just objects of beauty. Okay? Does this clarify your thought, Mataji? Okay. Saraswati Mataji, are you all clear? Hare Krishna. Mataji is not here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, I'm here.
Ah.
The last few sentences, Prabhu, but I understood what you said. Because I see we keep everywhere, and I was afraid maybe it is an offense like that. So I wanted to.
They're just objects.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
You can call it as objects of beauty or objects of sense gratification, whatever you want to call it, but there's no offense.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Okay?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, that means keeping Radha Krishna photos even in the room. That is all not correct, no Prabhu. Only we should keep it in the temple altar at home.
Okay, so there are two things now. Now, I'll just continue that Saraswati Mataji's that one question. Now, even though we said they are not objects of worship, they're just dolls. For example, you may have Varahamurti at the entrance. You may have Narsinghadev picture at somewhere in the hall. Okay. Devotion means you may not worship those pictures, but you will have respect for them. That means you will wipe them and keep them clean. You will not throw ugly things around them. Because the Lord has manifested in your heart in its name, form, in different aspects. So when you have that, you will not behave in a disrespectful manner, right? So now, for example, Uttara Mataji asked a question: can we have pictures at bedroom, or should we have only in the hall? Something like that. See, very simple. In a house, there is this dining hall, living hall, kitchen, puja room, maybe other few things, balconies. And there are bedrooms and bathrooms. Okay. You have to separate your house into two aspects. One is these common areas, and another is the personal rooms that are bedrooms. In the bedrooms, we sleep. We may be in a simple dress formats. We may take bath and come there and try to change our dress. And what do you say? I would say more personal things that we may do in the bedroom. But we may not do those in the common areas in the house. Okay, common areas means someone could come, some mates could be there, other members in the family could be there in the common areas. So that's the difference. So in the personal rooms, you cannot have the Lord's picture because there could be compromised postures. So those are all disrespectful dealings with the Lord. Hence, we do not have those. So no Archivigraha, no pictures, nothing in the bathrooms and the bedrooms. Because while sleeping, you may face your feet towards that picture knowingly or unknowingly. All those things could happen. So it is not good. It's not a good idea. But in the common areas, you will see that you are more, your approach towards your activities in the common area are are more refined. So hence, they can be present. This is how you differentiate between these two areas. Okay? Even though dolls, even though they are photo frames, we still don't have them in the bedrooms. We have only in the living halls and other areas. Okay?
But Prabhu,
Huh.
we have a Radha Krishna photo or Jagannath's photo in the bedroom. Why? Because as soon as we get up, we want to see them.
See, if you want to do that, if that is the only purpose, I would suggest that you keep a picture of Lord Jagannath or this one near your side table or something in a closed format. Once you get up, open that book or open that, see that Lord, and then close it back. Or keep the picture of the Lord in your mobile, open your mobile, see the picture of the Lord in the mobile, and then close it down. That is a better approach I would take in the requirement that you're asking.
Oh.
Okay. So, for example, let's say you're changing your dress in the bedroom. That's a compromised posture, and that is not good to do that in front of the picture of the Lord.
So Guru Maharaj photo also we cannot have.
Yeah, in general, yeah. So I'll give you an example. So once we had the service of serving Guru Maharaj in the night. Okay. So Guru Maharaj had gone to the program. He gave the class and he returned back to the house. Right. So Guru Maharaj, we have to push him the wheelchair. So we got him to the bedroom, and then Guru Maharaj said, I need to go to the nature call. So we had to remove his dress, right? The basic dress he was wearing, because he had to be taken to the bathroom. So when he removed, Guru Maharaj, what he do? He saw that we were removing. Immediately, in his left hand, he pulled the Angavastra and he threw it on the wall, which had a picture of some deity. I don't know what deity it was. And that Angavastra covered the picture of the deity, and he said, now you remove. Because he said, it is not a good idea to be in a compromised posture and then the deities are observing. It's not respectful to the deities. So that's the logic he gave us. Once he gave that logic, we understood, so this is how we deal. This is the state of consciousness we should have. And hence, all these things that we're talking about. Yeah, helps, Mataji?
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Great
Thank you,
releases.
Okay, so let's move forward. Let's read 11.25. Nityam nirikshamananam yadapi dwaraka kaukasham. Na vrittipyantihi drishaha Sriyo Damangam Achyutam. Now, this sloka it talks about what did the ladies of Dwarka do on the rooftops. Okay, and how did their realization was. Translation. The inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon the reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satisfied. Okay, so now here Prabhupada compares between two things. In the material world, you do an activity, you see that that does not give you full satisfaction, so you want to do it again. And sometimes you feel that, no, it is too much, I don't want it at all. You start to get aversion towards it and you move away from it, right? You see, this is the nature of material world. But in Lord's beauty, you see, Janmashtami we have performed for so many years now. Yet, the enthusiasm when Janmashtami comes is so wonderful. We want to do so many services. Rath Yatra, it's an every year event. But yet, for every Rath Yatra, it looks new. Just like how Lord is Nava Yavanam, our consciousness also is Nava Yavanam. We also want to do that activity for the Lord. We never get saying, okay, I'm done everything, no more services to the Lord. We never come to that situation. And that's the beauty that was experienced by the Dwarakavasis. So the ladies, even though they saw the Lord every day, even though they have experienced the Lord so many times, yet when the Lord comes back to Dwaraka, they're so much blissful. They want to still talk about his pastimes. They want to experience his beauty. They go about on the rooftop and they nourish their hearts by singing. Right? So that's what Prabhupada is trying to talk about here. Someone read both yellow and green?
Yes, Prabhu. Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, read.
When the ladies of the city of Dwarka got up on the roofs of their palaces, they never thought that they had previously many times seen the beautiful body of the infallible Lord.
Look at that. They have felt that they have never seen the beautiful body, though they have seen hundreds of times. So this is called satiation. Yes, Prabhu.
This indicates that they had no satiation in desiring to see the Lord. Anything material seen for a number of times ultimately becomes unattractive by the law of satisfaction.
Satiation means satisfaction to the fullest extent is called satiation. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
The law of satiation.
Yes. The law of satiation acts materially, but there is no scope for it in the spiritual realm. The word infallible is significant here because although the Lord has mercifully descended to the earth, he is still infallible.
Infallible means he never
Achyuta, free of contamination.
He doesn't fall down, right? So what does that fall down mean? So for example, look at us. Okay. Now the Vaikuntha Lokas are up above there. Because we lost our credibility, we were pushed down from the Vaikuntha Loka to this material world. In this material world, we are suffering. In the Vaikuntha Loka, we never suffered. Okay? So because of our ineligibility, we fell down here. Because of impure consciousness, we fell down here. Now, the Lord also comes from Vaikuntha Loka to this place, but it's not that he fell down. He came down by his mercy to perform activities, to take the devotees like us back home, to give nourishment to the hearts of the yogis and devotees, to reinstate dharma. Like that, he does many of these things when he comes down. He comes down by his desire, he goes back by his desire. That's why the Lord is called infallible. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Infallible and nirguna, Prabhu.
Nirguna means Nirguna doesn't that concept doesn't come here. But what it means is when he comes, he is not affected by the energies of the material world.
Yes, Prabhu.
But when we come, we are illusioned by the material world and we get caught in this material energy. And hence we think we are a product of this material world. We are not. Yes, Prabhu.
No one, therefore, is satiated by seeing the transcendental body of the Lord, because there are always manifestations of newer and newer beauties. The transcendental name, form, qualities, entourage, etc. are all spiritual manifestations, and there is no satiation in chanting of the holy name of the Lord. There is no satiation in discussing the qualities of the Lord, and there is no limitation of the entourage of the Lord. He is the source and all and is limitless. Thank you.
Okay, so in the context here, what are we talking about? The context is one is the beauty of the Lord, the form of the Lord. How much ever you see, how much ever you serve, how much ever you hear the activities and the glories of the Lord, you won't hear them again. It is so nectarian. That's the point here. Okay, and who are the associates of the Lord? Almost everyone. For example, in Dwaraka, 16,108 associates of the Lord. They all became his queens, right? So you see, it is not that Lord can only marry 16,008. If actually Lord marries the entire creation, all of us are Prakriti. All of us are his servitudes. All of us are female, possessing different kinds of body. For example, I'm a female, but possessing a male body. Someone may be a female, possessing a female body. Body is external. The internal is the key. The internal is the Atma. The Atma is the servitude of the Lord. So Atma is a pleasure-giving potency of the Lord. That means by their services, they give pleasure to the Lord. Right? So that's how you understand this. Okay, we'll go to the next sloka, 10.26. So in 26, we are going to understand what are the four aspects of the Lord on his body. Okay. So for example, let's read the sloka 26. Shriyo nivasho yashyoraha panapatram mukam drisham bhavavo lokapalanam saranganam padambujam. See, look at this word, Shriyo Nivasho Yashyoraha. So Shriya Nivasho means Shriya here refers to Lakshmi. Striya means lady. Shriya refers to goddess of Lakshmi. Okay, Nivasha means she is residing. Okay, so it means you see Sri Vatsa, that is which is in the chest of the Lord. It tells that Lady Mahalakshmi is residing on the heart of the Lord. Okay, so that is that symbol. Shriyo Nivasha Yashyorha. Then Panapatram Mukam Drisham. Okay, so Panapatram Mukam Drisham means Panapatram Mukam means his face. If you just by seeing his face, it was like drinking. You're drinking some nectar. His eyes are like you're drinking the nectar from his. So Drisham is eyes, right? So like that was the beauty of the Lord. Okay, then Bahavo Lokapalanam. So Bahavo means Lokapalanam refers to the various servants of this Loka, or the demigods. 33 demigods. Those are Lokapalanam. Bahavo means they take the Lord's body and they rest on it. What is the proof? So when Arjuna asked Krishna, he showed Vishwarupam. In Vishwarupam, Krishna showed all the Devatas. They were present in the creation, right? So all these demigods, they take shelter under the Lord. That is why it's called Bhagavo Lokapalanam. Then it says Saranganam Padambujam, right? Saranganam Padambujam means is lotus feet. Sarangana means it refers to pure devotees that take shelter of the Lord. So that's what it refers to. So let's read just this highlights. Translation. The Lord's chest is abode of goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is like drinking vessels for the eyes. Right? It's so beautiful that we see that and nourish our hearts. Okay. His arms are the resting place for the administrative demigods. Okay. And his lotus face are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or think of any subject except his lordship. Right. So, devotees don't have any other goals apart from talking about his glories, his katha, his pastimes. Machita, Madgata, Prana, Bodhayanta, Parashparam. That's what they do. They keep discussing about the Lord. So, how? So, for example, let's go to Rajabhumi. When in the daytime, in the morning, Lord was present, right? So, in Vrindavan. So, while Lord was present, what was happening? Nanda and Yashoda and the other servant maids and other people, they kept seeing the Lord and then they remembering the Lord again and again. Okay? And the Lord started to leave for the forest with the cows and the Gopakumaras. So during the procession also, all the elderly men and women in Vrindavan, they saw the beauty of the Lord. They saw the Lord, they manifested them in the heart, and then they were drinking that nectar. Okay? Then the Lord went off to the forest. He was no more visible physically. But at the time, what happened? All the Vrajavasis, what they did, they kept remembering the Lord. They were smaranam of the Lord. Right? So they did nothing else. So while they were present, while Lord was present, while Lord was absent, in both scenarios, they manifested the glories and the beauty of the Lord in their hearts, and they kept discussing. While Krishna was present, they saw him, they discussed. While Krishna was absent, they were discussing what Krishna would do in the forest, which demon did he kill, what pastimes he played with the Gopakumaras, what fruit did he eat, did he have his lunch, did he sleep? Like that, they were discussing so many things, right? So this is how their devotion manifested at every point in time, right? So this is how you understand about this. There are persons who are seeking after the favor of goddess of fortune. From them, the Vedic literature gave information that the Lord is always served with all reverence by thousands and thousands of goddess of fortune at Chintamani Dhama, the transcendental abode of the Lord, where the trees are all desert trees and buildings are made of touchstone. Okay, so here specifically it's being talked about Lord Chest is the abode of goddess of fortune Lakshmi. Now look at this. Lakshmi is called Chanchalam. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam. Now, Lakshmi Chanchalam means what? She will not stay in one place. She'll keep moving. And that's the nature. Now, is it true? You see, in our life also, opulence and wealth do not stay with one person forever. It keeps moving. Suddenly, you'll see one person was poor, he became rich. And suddenly in your life, you'll see one person was very poor, he became very rich, he became poor. Others who have accumulated huge wealth in their lives, you see, by the process of death, all their wealth is removed away. That means Lakshmi again went away out of him. Right? He has to give it away, either to society or to government or his children or what it may be. Right? Arrangement has been made. Even people in power, someone could be chief minister, but after some time, Lakshmi will move away and then he will fall down. He won't be chief minister. He will be ordinary minister. Right? So you see, for all of us, the fortune, the Lakshmi as a fortune is never permanent. But this impermanent Mahalakshmi, she is always doing permanent in the heart of the Lord. So, what Prabhupada is trying to tell us is that rather than going behind Lakshmi, of course, since she is a consort of the Lord, you can worship her. But rather than looking at her alone, you worship the Lord and she'll be also present with you at all times. Right? So that is intelligent. So here, I'm just reading the green now. O Supreme, eternal, please therefore let my mind be fixed at your lotus feet so that eternally I may be able to relish the taste of your transcendental service. That is what a devotee wants. He is not saying I want money and things because that is temporary. It'll come and it'll go. He doesn't want to go behind Lakshmi. He wants to go behind Narayana. Now it is also said, if you worship Narayana, Lakshmi is also present there because that's her abode. That's Narayana's abode. But when you worship Lakshmi without Narayana, that means worship her alone. then Mahalakshmi does not manifest as the goddess Lakshmi, she manifests as Maya Devi and gives you illusion of wealth, illusion of comfort, rather than bhakti. So, Lakshmi should always be worshipped in presence of Narayana, not alone. Okay, the devotees are satisfied with being placed at the lotus feet of the Lord and have no ambition to see his all beautiful face or aspire the protection of the strong arms of the Lord. They are humble by nature. The Lord is always leaning towards such humble devotees. Now, here there's a statement which says, no ambition to see or aspire for the protection of the strong arms of the Lord. Now, what does that mean? Who is under the protection of the strong arms of the Lord? The demigods. They don't seek the protection of demigods. They only seek protection of the Lord. So that means here, Prabhupada is indirectly telling us that if you're a real devotee, you will never do demigod worship. That's the point here. You will have full surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? So that's the detailing here that Prabhupada is trying to explain us here. Okay, let's go to the next sloka. So this sloka is talking about when the Lord, what is the beauty of the Lord when Lord was passing and walking on the streets? What are the symbols and how, the whole scenario was very beautifully explained. 11:27. Sita patra prajanair upakshkritaha prashona varshayir abhivarshitaha pati Pishangavasa vanamalya babau Gano yata kudopu yata kodupa chapa vaidyutai. Translation. As the Lord passes along the public road of Dwarka, his head was protected from the sunshine by a white umbrella. White feathered fans moved in semicircles. Okay, so these are your chamara. And showers of flowers fell upon the road. Why? Because all these ladies were on the rooftop of the houses, and they were glorifying the Lord by offering nice flowers. His yellow garments and garland of flowers made it as if appear a dark cloud was surrounded simultaneously by sun, moon, lighting, and rainbow. Okay. So here, Prabhupada explains that when there is sun, there is no rains. The clouds will cover the sun and then rain comes. Okay. So that means simultaneously all the things in nature cannot happen. Right. But here you see, Prabhupada is explaining the sun, moon, rainbow, and the lighting do not appear in the sky simultaneously. But when the Lord was walking, his beauty was like the clouds. He is called Shama. And the effulgence of the Lord was like the sun. And he holding that umbrella, and the garlands were looking like the rainbow. So like that, Prabhupada is explaining, at simultaneously one could see the beauty of everything together in the Lord walking, right? Now, this cannot be compared to any other thing. So Prabhupada is comparing the beauty of the Lord to certain aspects of nature and then telling, this is how wonderful he was to look at, right? So this is just that sloka. Okay, now let's go to the next sloka, 28. Pravishtastu griham pitro Parishvakta swamatrabihi Bhavande sirasa sapta Devaki pramukha muda. Translation. After entering the house of his father, who Krishna, he is embraced by the mothers present, and the Lord offered his obeisances unto them by placing his head on their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki, his real mother. See, Vasudeva had many wives. I think he had something like 16 wives or 18 wives, something like that he had. Okay. So those are the stepmothers for him, Krishna. Devaki is the principal first wife and the principal mother, and all other mothers were stepmothers for him. But Krishna did not see a difference between his mother and other mothers. He equally reciprocated with them. He saw them as his mothers too, and then he paid his obeisances. What sort of obeisances he paid? He may think that, I am Supreme Personality Godhead. Aham Bija Prataha. That means I am the seed-giving father of all the living entities. He never think like that. He placed his head at their feet. He gave respects to his mother and father. Right? So this is very important to understand. From this, we understand the behavior of the Lord, how he deals with his people, with his subjects. So, there are 7 mothers that the scriptures are talking about. The first mother is the real mother, the mother who gave birth to you. Here, in this case, the real mother for Krishna is Devaki. And also the stepmothers, because they are his wives of his father. So, in relation to his father, he gives them same respect to stepmothers. Okay. Second, the wife of the spiritual master, right? So, the wife of the spiritual master should be seen in the status of a mother. It cannot be seen in the status of someone else, right? So, what respect one pays to spiritual master, one has to pay the same respect to his wife also. Okay, wife of the spiritual master, second mother. The third mother is wife of a Brahmana. Whenever you see a Brahmana, you see his wife as your mother. You don't see in a manner of having lusty relationship with that person or disrespectful relationship with that person. So wife of a Brahmana is also mother. Why? The Brahmana is a sadhu who gives shastric knowledge to us. So she's also part of it. Okay. Fourth is the wife of a king. So king here refers to one who is an administrative head of the country, who takes care of your life, who takes care of all activities of your life. So the king and the king's wife also has to be seen as a mother. The cow is a mother because once we are born, we may have mother's milk for about maybe 3 to 6 months. But after that, throughout our life, the milk that we drink is from the cow. And so cow is the mother. Okay. The nurse here refers to the lady or the person who was responsible for our birth in this world. Because the mother is the one who's carrying the child and delivering, but the nurse is the one who does the activity of taking the child out of the mother in a safe manner. So, since she is also equal to the mother, doctor. Okay. The earth is a mother, Bhudevi, because she gives all the produce, all the things that we live for in this life. She gives all those things in this life. Then she is also mother. So, all of them of this are mothers, and this is the injunction of the Shastra. So, now what it is said is, when we keep Pindadana, right? When we do for our father, we do for our father and his father, like ancestors, 3 generations, 7 generations, like that we do. But when you do for our mother, we have to keep 7 Pindadanas. And this 7 is what this 7 refers to, right? And that's the respect that you give for the mother. The highest respect that one has to give for the mother, right? And that's the injunction of the Shastra, right? Now, in current society, if you look at it, people are becoming very self-centered. They don't want to respect the mother, right? Of course, their parent, father also. Now, that is not good because the reactions of that will come in the later point in their life. But that's not a good idea. One cannot be existential in this world, but for the causeless mercy of the mother. What if the mother had decided to kill the child at the time of birth? He would never exist. She goes through all the pain, all the difficulty to produce that child. So that mother has to be respected under all conditions and all situations. That's the injunction of the Shastras, right? And that's what this sloka is referring to. Okay, any doubt on this sloka?
No problem.
Okay, good. So let's go to the next sloka. 11.29. We'll try to cover till 30 today. 11.29. Taha putram ankam aropya sneha snuta payodaraha harsha vivalitatmanaha shishichur netra jalai. Translation. The mothers, after embracing their son, sat him on their laps. Due to pure affection, the milk sprang from their breast. They are overwhelmed with delight, and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord. This is just Vatsalya above, manifesting fully, right? The mother, when she is fully happy with the child, the Shastras say that the milk will just outflow from the breast. Similarly, a cow, when it is fully satisfied in a farm, she will give you profuse milk. It is the happiness of the cow, they give wonderful milk. So in Kali Yuga, what is happening? We are not looking at happiness of the cow. We are using machines to suck the milk out of the this thing of the cow. But that's not a good idea. It is just blood. It is just the anger of the cow. So that's not a good idea. So cow must be nicely taken care. You should sing, you should pet the cow, you should feed her nicely, and you should take her like your own children. When you take care of her, she's so happy with you. She gives you milk, high quality milk so profusely. And that is milk is good for consumption, not the milk that is produced out of factories. So you see the difference between Vedic civilization and the current material civilization, how it has changed and how it is a big problem for us to live. Right? So that's what is the understanding of it. Okay. Now let's look at sloka number 1130. In fact, there is this profound thought about A2 milk, right? Now, if you look at this A2 milk are currently milk that are generated out of cows from good farms, where they take care of the cows nicely, and then they produce that milk. Now, there are two aspects in this. One, farms that they care for the cows nicely and then take the milk. Another is it's all looked at from material angle, like, oh, good health, good vitamins and good calcium and nourishment. They're looking from that. So devotees will look from devotional angle, and materialist will look from bodily angle. So that's the difference you have to understand. But consumption of A2 milk is good compared to the milk that is produced out of factories. Right? That's the point of understanding here. Okay. 1130. Atavishat swabhavanam sharvakamam anuttamam prashadayatra patinam sahasrani cha sodasham. Translation. Thereafter the Lord entered his palaces, which are perfect to the fullest extent. His wife lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000. Okay. So now there are two things that we want to understand from this sloka. The first is, it is not that one becomes devotee of Lord Krishna, he'll be in poverty and things like that. No. Poverty, material poverty one can have in the consciousness. But that's not the point. Look at it. The Lord created those palaces with such wonderful marble stones, elements, jewels, and things like that. He offered the best as husband, right? And that's how these palaces look so brilliant. Actually, if you read the 10th canto, there are explanations about how these palaces were looking like. Really phenomenal. So Krishna gave the best to his wives. Okay. Now, so here Krishna is called as Sarvakaman. Sarvakaman means whatever he desired, he just manifested for him. There is no limitation of his thoughts or manifestation. Whatever he desired, it manifested. Krishna was so pleased with his 16,000 wives, and he desired the best for them. And so Vishwakarma built that 16,000 palaces in no time frame. Right? So that's the description about how Krishna entered these palaces and how these palaces were looking so beautiful. Now, you can look at it from multiple ways. One, these 16,000 queens were not ordinary people. First of all, they were queens, the queens of these great kings and they lived in palace. That means they were not ordinary people. Secondly, they're also entourage, associates of the Lord, right? So birth after birth, they did so much of sadhana bhakti and Vaidhi bhakti that the Lord wanted to reciprocate to them. So hence, Lord took this as an opportunity to reciprocate to them. One is as an husband and giving them all the opulence. Because Dwarkadama is a lot of opulence, right? So hence, Lord reciprocated that manner, right? So you have to understand this from the ability of the Lord, potency to fulfill all the desires of the queens to the fullest extent. And this was the reason why he also gave all those opulences to those queens, right? If you read the 10th canto, it's explained the gardens, it's explained every detailing of the palaces, how it was done. Even Nectar of Devotion is explained. So you should read these books on a regular basis. That's when you'll appreciate how the Lord took care of his devotees, how the Lord reciprocated to the sadhus. Okay. So it is 701. In the next class, we shall be completing this chapter. We'll go to chapter 12 in the next class. Okay. So, any questions? Any thoughts? Now, one thing Prabhupada talks about is there are two energies of the Lord in a broader classification. One is called the Vaibhava, another is called Prakasha. Right. Now, there are two words that I will talk about now. One is called plenary and energy of the Lord. What is plenary? Plenary means the Lord expands by himself. Right. So, for example, Krishna expands by himself as Balaram. Balaram expands as quadruple expansion. Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Shankarshana, Vasudeva. Now he expands himself as Narayana. He expands himself as Rama. He expands as Narsingadev. So these are called plenary expansion. Lord himself expands. This is called Vaibhava. You should remember this word, Vaibhava. Second expansion is what is called a separated expansion. Separated means energy of the Lord. The energy of the Lord is separated expansion. Through the energy, he does lots of expansions. That is Prakasha. Prakasha means energy of the Lord. Right? So, if you look at these queens, the queens are energy of the Lord. Right? Now, if you look at eternal associates or Lord himself, they're called plenary portion of the Lord. So, you will see Shastra continuously use these two words, plenary portion and separated energies. They're called Vaibhava and Prakasha. We'll discuss this Vaibhava and Prakasha more detailedly in the next class. In the subsequent slokas of sloka number 31 and 32, we'll understand how this manifestation happened. I'll draw a chart and I will show you how to understand this Vaibhava and Prakasha in much more detail. Okay? It is a little bit complicated, but we'll go slowly to understand. Once you understand that, then you'll understand the avatar. You'll understand how expansion happens. You'll understand how Narayana happened. You'll understand how Rama happened, how Sadashiva happened. You'll understand all those things nicely. Okay? So we'll end here and we'll take up questions.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you said all the queens are plenary expansions, Prabhu.
The queens are energy. Okay, so how are the queens? So who are the queens? Queens are Krishna expands as plenary portion as Radharani. Okay, Radharani is the Hladini energy of the Lord, Hladini potency of the Lord. Okay, so that is Radharani. From this Radharani, many expansions happen. Srimati Radharani expands into her consorts that are gopis, like we see, no? Lalita, Vishaka, Tungavidya, Champakalata, Rangadevi, all these people. The Radharani also expands into Sahasra Koti Mahalakshmi. That means crores and crores of Mahalakshmis. Radharani also expands into Maya Devi. The first representation of Maya Devi is Parvati, that is consort of Lord Shiva. And Parvati herself has many, many expansions, unlimited expansion. Okay, now you see the difference between plenary and separated. So the queens of this are the separated portions. Okay, so we'll see that in more detail in the next class. Yeah, any other questions we have?
Prabhu, that Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandaspanam. So that means Radharani is Prakasha, Prabhu.
No, plenary. She's Krishna expanding into her.
Vaibhava.
Vaibhava.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So, for example, you see Traigunya avatar, right? For example, you see Acharyas. These are separated, right? For example, Kala, nature, all these things are all separated, like that it is.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other questions? Okay. So, are you all reading the purports after the class?
Yes, Prabhu.
Reading, Prabhu.
Okay. So, please read the purports after the class. If you don't read the purport, the detailed understanding, may not register in your minds. Which means you will see that you're progressing in the class week after week. but you are not progressing in the proper knowledge. And that is going to hurt you, right? So you see, we've already completed 11 chapters. Now another 2-3 more chapters, we'll finish the Canto also. So then, now in the next subsequent chapters, we're going to take out Parikshit life of Parikshit, pastimes of Parikshit, everything we're going to discuss. So at the time, if you're not up to standard on these things, then you will see, oh, I'm not able to connect this. What is that, Prabhu? What is this, Prabhu? And then it's not possible for you to read all together and understand them. That's also difficult. So regular, slow by slow, step by step, you digest them, you read them, and then go forward. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. So please, and I'm repeating it again, after the class is over, please read the purports. At least for the slokas. So today we did about what, 12 slokas or something. So in the 12 slokas, please read the purports. Don't miss them. Okay. Okay, thank you all if you didn't have any questions. So just an announcement, this coming Saturday is Rath Yatra. So in our ICC temple, we did not do Rath Yatra for almost 4 years, I think so, 4 or 5 years. Since the COVID, we have not done. Okay. So please come for the Rath Yatra. It's very important for you to participate. If you want to take up services, you let me know. You should be present for Rath Yatra. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second is seeing the Lord on the day of Rath Yatra. It's very, very important because Lord is going to be expanding His mercy 1,000 times, 10,000 times. So when you come to the Rath Yatra, pull the rope and sing for the Lord. Do some services for the Lord. You will see Lord is so pleased. He does not see your sins. He does not see, okay, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you're a papi. He doesn't see any of those things. He just showers mercy on you. Okay? So that way we become purified. All other things, they just go away. We become a better devotee. So Rath Yatra is very important. Please come and participate.
Sure.
Second thing about this program. So we want to do what is called as Jagannath Amba. Okay? So Saturday is Rath Yatra. We're going to start around 3:30 from Uttarali, and then it's a new route. So we're going to come all the way to the temple. Total 5 kilometers is what we're doing Rath Yatra. Okay? So please come. On Sunday, we have organized a lot of cultural programs because the festival means one is, yes, the Ratha and beauty of the Lord, decoration, prasadam, things like that. But next day, we should also follow through with other aspects of enjoyment. This enjoyment is not material sense gratification. This enjoyment is enjoyment with the Lord. You will see things that are glorifying the dance and drama of the Lord, pastimes, some singing, some dance, where it is portrayed about a pastime of the Lord, like that it's not. So, Sunday evening, from 4 o'clock onwards till 6:30, we have wonderful cultural programs. And after the cultural program, we'll also have a feast prasadam. So please, Sunday also come to the temple. And Saturday, come for the Rath Yatra. Okay? So that's my humble request. If you're outstation, no problem. Please book your tickets, travel to Bangalore and then come. If you're far away, connect with one devotee in and around this area so that you can club along with the devotee and come participate in this. Right? So participating is the key. And how you do it is your intelligence. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hare
And
Krishna, Prabhu.
yes,
Just Prabhu, should we pull the Ratha with barefoot, Prabhu?
that's okay. You can wear slippers, no problem.
Okay.
See, those are externals. Okay. Some will say, oh, you're wearing chodidar, you can't pull. Those things are never told in the Shastras. The Shastra is only focusing on your consciousness. What is the state of consciousness that you're doing? Some may have difficulty with the feet. Some may have difficulty with the stones and sharp objects on the road. We don't want you to suffer and all these things. Those are externals. Internal is your consciousness. If you protect that, you achieve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you all. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Nithai Gaur Premanande. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम तत्सत। थैंक यू। हरे
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Prabhuji,
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Thank you so much
Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण।
for the wonderful class, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण।